Hey, what is up guys, Masterleaf here, back to do another video, and today I'm going to bring you all a game on Atacama Road. I have some pretty good games that I want to show you all, and I'm going to start with this one here, so expect to see a steady stream of content. I have been playing a lot off stream the last couple of days, been having a blast. Some days I don't feel like streaming, so I just hop online and play a few. Has some great fun playing as Scrin, demonstrating. Well, you're going to see what I've been demonstrating. I haven't recorded anything of Scrin yet, but there is a few interesting strategies that have been, happening in recent times. There's been some really interesting developments with the Scrin. It's nothing to do with Hexlame anymore. Yeah, the gameplay involving Scrin is much more healthier than it was before, so I'm very glad about that. Anyways, this is going to be versus Phoenix. I've got two games versus Phoenix. You're going to see one in this video, and then maybe in a couple of days' time I'll release the other game, the other match, which I feel was pretty amazing. I did play it about a month ago, so if you guys have been watching my stream regularly, you will have recalled the game I'm talking about. Nonetheless, though, this here is going to be on R20, a patch that I have spent a long time working on, months in fact. If you seen my last video, you will have learned that the patch was released. You can all download it if you choose. There is an exclusive version that I did release to several people, which have special flamethrower effects on the purifiers, avatars, and redeemers. But yeah, all that stuff will be pending for future versions or releases. What is out there now is basically the final release of R20. It's never going to be updated again. It's stable, it's finalized, but I can make a few cosmetic changes here and there and not cause a desync. So that is great. Good customization. That's one thing I like about modding. Really, it's a fun hobby to me. I really did enjoy doing this patch. Of course, R20 was built on R19, which in turn was built on CGS 1.02+. So it very much is a community patch, despite what Green Zero may say in his VODs. I did inquire a lot of people. There was a lot of players involved with suggestions and discussions had been taking place since November, October the previous year, so 2022. So that's a long time. And I was committed to finishing this patch, and it is finished. So that is great. Now that that is out of the way, this game is going to start heating up. I see a Harvester going to the Blue Tyrene field. Very unorthodox choice taking that route. Nonetheless, a couple of APCs, probably garrisoned up with rockets. I'm going to go for a bunch of Scorpion tanks and hold this off. Bike Buggy is an option, but I don't feel like the Buggies have the DPS to kill this force off quick enough. I can EMP these forces, so I can use the Shredder turret cells to get 4 seconds of EMP. Now, it was 5 seconds, however, in R20, the Awakened got a EMP duration nerf. This was because the Awakened range of their main weapon was buffed significantly in earlier patches, and they threw that EMP instantly in this community patch. Since the beginning of time, this had propelled MoK to a very strong position in R19. In fact, it was the favorite faction in that patch, and now we see it's still a great faction. Still, I'd argue it's hardly nerfed. 1 second less on that is not a big deal, considering they have other perks, like for instance, the Enlightened Squad auto targets vehicles now. That is just great. Hopefully I'm recording this audio. I went through a cast and ended up not recording anything, so that would suck if not. So this is a map that was a real pain in the ass to get working, compiled, but all the terrain, all the models were imported from another game. Technique did a fantastic job on this map. None of this is from the game though. He imported all these models, and much of the terrain as well wasn't even in Kane's Wrath. Sad to see Technique not around. He hasn't really rocked up to play some games for years. Would be nice to see him again, but I doubt it. Nonetheless, though, I see a few old faces show up here and then. We did see Unleashed, and there's someone else apparently who came back and used to play in 2008, played Unleashed, and guys like Apollo. I don't recall him because I wasn't really active during that time. When I did purchase the game and played it in 2008, I pre-ordered it. Technically I was too young to pre-order it, so I got my parents to do so, but the game was great. I played it, and I was never expecting to do this. I never expected Kane Draft to be such a part of my life so many years later, 15 years later to be exact, because Kane Draft is now 15 years old. Crazy how time flies. 15th anniversary. That's why I wanted to do a special patch for this game. A lot of the things in R20 were to basically commemorate that 15-year anniversary. A lot of the visual enhancements and features were as a result of that. So this game, I'm pretty base contained, so I'm going to go for a bunch of hammerheads, Venoms to counter his hammerheads, because I was expecting him to build those. You can also use them against orcas. One thing that Venoms don't counter is orcas. Phoenix did use Supersonic Airstrike, killed all of those, so he's not going to have that online for a while. So those Venoms are pretty much useless. Orcas sweep in for an attack, and I'm in dire straits currently. Look at this. Harvesters right there taking so much damage. Zone Trooper drop pod as well being summoned in, but I just sold that chemical plant off the moment I dropped it, and those Zone Troopers were no more. I was forced to in that situation. Now I've got two avatars. Phoenix bleeding some units, but he got the damage dealt. He killed all of my harvesters, I think, on my expansion. Yeah, only one left there. Supercharged particle beams, I expect, is on its way, because I do intend to build more Venoms, which is a really mad choice, considering he just supersonic airstruck all of them down, and he's probably going to have a lot of anti-air units, but it is somewhat of a double bluff, because you would never expect a MoK player to go for an air transition after seeing those GDI upgrades, and especially Firehawks in play. Phoenix tries to go for the tier 3, and this is going to result in me able to destroy these Firehawks. Those will go down. Of course, there's not much speed discrepancy between Firehawks and Venom, so you should be able to chase them down. Supercharged particle beam Venoms don't do too bad against Firehawks, if I'm honest. If you've got a critical mass of Venoms, you can actually kill the Hawks, provided they're regular GDI ones, not Zocom Hawks. But yeah, Zocom has much more problems to contend with than Venoms. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, let's just have a quick sip of water, because casting is, well, it's hard work. So these Venoms, I did get on top of those Firehawks, sniped all of them down, as well as the Orcas. They're doing pretty good damage here. This is unexpected. Phoenix has not yet dropped a single AA battery. Yeah, here we go. He's going to drop one down now. He was really frantically trying to hold this attack off with the two avatars, which I have equipped with beam cannons. Juggernaut gets sniped there by the Venoms. Pretty good damage on those Venoms versus vehicles. Upgraded power plant goes down as well. I'm sniping as much as I can. That's 16 Venoms. This is a really, really unorthodox choice. This is something that you guys would probably do in a skirmish. Spam a bunch of Venoms. And it can work wonders in 1v1 games. As long as you can support it with something like avatars, or you gotta have a strategy. In this game I did it because he just didn't expect it. It's not something that you do all the time. But this is good, because it just means that there's strategy, and even against the best of the best players, you can make these strategies work. It's not all the same play every game, because it does make you predictable. If you go for the same strategies every game, then of course your opponent's going to expect it. Like, for instance, if you go stealth tanks every game, your opponent's just going to expect it and go for a bunch of zone troopers and just camp his fields with those zone troopers with the scanner pack upgrade. But in this case here, I went Venoms, so if he had done Zone Troopers, I would have been able to snipe them and then kill his Harvesters with the Venoms. So there's a lot of things that I can do as the MoK. Not to mention, he also used the Supersonic Airstrikes, so he already had used that support power. So that wasn't a quick fix to this problem. He's going to have to get Tungsten Shells upgrade. That Marv is out for him. He should start Marvesting that Tiberian field of his if he is strapped for cash, or put rockets in the Marv. Pretty good idea. I'm just going to use these Venoms to snipe these Harvesters, because I know that I have a cooldown right now. Because he's going to get that Tungsten Shell upgrade, and that's going to mean big problems for me. So yeah, the Venoms, they did enough damage. I don't have my expansion set up, so he's still very much in a better position because he does have his his epic out and an expansion tip field. So he's in a better position. I do have a ton of Venoms. I'm going to go and force fire the ground. A tip that you guys may not know is that you can force fire the ground to stack all of your aircraft up, and that will put them all into the repair radius of the air tower. MCV expanding a little bit too far back, but I need my EVA or my radar so I can quickly navigate the battlefield here. Harvester's Phoenix just looking to get away with those. Not going to happen though. And I've got this avatar which is Vet 1. Phoenix complaining about Harbug, but he has like 10 harvesters on one refinery on his expansion tip field. So that is not really unordinary at all. Now this avatar, I see that it is a veteran one with 2 beams, so I can maybe make something of this. It's going to be tricky though, because you've got 2 AA batteries. These sonic mirrors do deal massive damage to vehicles, but in conjunction with those Venoms, I can quickly snipe that down, and now this avatar can start working on those AAs, so my Venoms can sweep in. Now there's a Zone Trooper squad there, which is the hard counter to avatars, but with the Venoms flying overhead, the Zone Trooper is going to achieve very little. So I'm going to start focusing down these AA batteries until I deem it's safe for my Venoms to sweep in and kill that Zone Trooper. Sonic emitter will be placed and destroyed. That slingshot as well is not long for this world. Avatar ranks up to that elite status. Marv in my expansion tip field, I think I did purchase the quad tower upgrade, something that you guys should do in R20 because it did get a cost reduction. It's only $1,000 now, 30 seconds respectively. And this avatar is just sweeping house. It's cleaning house here, killing all of those units. That slingshot as well did also fall. But yeah, Sonic emitters at this point are a threat. That Juggernaut is a problem. One Juggernaut can deal massive damage to vehicles. I relocate to the expansion of my main, and yeah, he's got this Marv, but these Venoms are just going to do no damage at all to it. Gun damage does very little to the Marv, so that's not really a counter. I'm spamming Raider Buggies when really I should be going for Enlightened, because I think I built those to... I don't know why, because I've got plenty of anti-infantry, I have plenty of anti-air in the form of my Venoms, so maybe I was expecting to have the EMP coils. Nonetheless though, not the ideal choice. This, nonetheless, I once again use that trick with my Venoms to stack them up together, and this Marv is pushing in. Phoenix still has a huge army, and this Marv, he's also got a double ref on his expansion tip field. Reclamator hub, I think he is kept around. No tungsten shells. You'd think he would have got that by now, but I assure you he is working on it. And the MCV is just moving into my base. This is going to make it tricky for my Venoms to engage. I do have an avatar that is slowly healing up. That my win condition would be to try and rank this avatar, because it is a double vet avatar with 2 lasers, because I did equip a beam cannon to it. A lot of people say that avatars are very mediocre, but I'd argue that they aren't. You are encouraged to upgrade them in Kane's Wrath, because EA significantly increased the damage of the beam cannon laser on the avatar, because they wanted people to upgrade the avatars, and I think that's a great way to approach the avatar balance. I'd much rather that was a thing than just buffing the base stats of the avatar, which I'm glad EA didn't do. That was what it was like in Tiberium Wars, where the avatar just had so much health and so much damage with its default laser. So yeah, this avatar is moving in. Pretty tense game this. Now I'm starting to build up these Enlightened squads so I can use them in conjunction with this avatar. I did cloak field the avatar, and for you guys who don't know, the cloaking field support power as the Mark of Kane has a lower cooldown, so you can use it more often with MoK. But it is an expensive support power, so you've got to use it sparingly for that reason. Maybe try and get as much units into that as possible to increase the value. But I'm trying to get this the ideal engagement. Avatar moves in, Shockwave Artillery goes down, hoping to get my Avatar, and he does get it as well, so that's unfortunate. This Avatar will now be taking huge damage, but these Enlightened, in conjunction with that Voice of Kane statue, which buffs the rate of fire of the Enlightened, will do sick damage to this mob. Look at the fire rate of those Enlightened squads right there. That mob taking significant damage, and I purposely didn't let my Enlightened finish off the mob, just so I could get that 5 grand of experience for my Avatar to rank up. So that was something that you guys can also do as well. If you have an elite unit and you're about to kill something of high value, just let your promoted unit finish off the job, because that will gain the entire veterancy, or the entire experience of that unit. And a fully heroic Avatar with 2 beams will 2-shot a Juggernaut.
Phoenix drive next, maybe?
And yeah, big thank you to Shanks for that. That was for one of the show matches that me and Bike Rush played, that you can find on my YouTube channel. I think it was like 2 videos ago. But yeah, Shanks has been doing a phenomenal job sponsoring show matches. We're very lucky in Kane Draft to have people sponsor these matches. It keeps the good players like Bike Rush around, and it gives us entertainment when it comes to gameplay. So it also allowed me to test the patch and ensure that there was no problems before release. Those show matches came in immense use for ensuring the patch was stable and there were no issues. Avatar just insane as the fully heroic Avatar. I don't know what would be better. What would I prefer? A heroic stealth tank or a heroic Avatar? I think the stealth tank is better, right? Because it shoots up. But sometimes I feel the Avatar does more damage. Like for instance there, I was just 2-shotting Behemoths. And it's tanking so much damage. It may even tank as much as a Redeemer. Not entirely sure, but it does have that self-healing. When heroic, all units of course when they're heroic heal themselves in this game. They get a 2 times increase to the rate of fire, a bunch of additional health, and the damage is of course increased by 50%. The stats are insane. And this is not only a fully heroic Avatar, it's also a fully heroic Avatar that's stealth. Now the only other upgrade that I can give this is a attack bike, but that's not going to do too much in this matchup. Against a Nod faction though, definitely worthwhile equipping your Avatar with an attack bike, so you can detect your opponent's stealth units. It's very handy for contesting a field like on tournament highlands. Equip a bike to an Avatar and you'll be able to see your opponent's harvesters and even your opponent's stealth Redeemer if he has one. Another shockwave comes down on these beam cannons, and this Avatar is just still alive. If it wasn't for the Avatar, then Phoenix would be able to sweep up this unit, but the fact that this heroic Avatar stands and is causing so much damage, it is assisting my army immensely. That Voice of Kane still providing value, a structure that we see little play. I was considering increasing the amount of Voice of Kanes you can have. I think in one patch you could build more than one, or it could have been a bug where if you built cranes you could build additional Voice of Kanes. Nonetheless, there's a stacking limit of 1 for the Voice of Kane. Could be a consideration for the future. Nonetheless, guys, that was a pretty good game in my opinion that I wanted to share on Atacama Road. I was behind economically that game. I made an interesting transition to Venoms, and then I milked that Avatar for what it was worth. And that was a very Nod-esque game. Very unorthodox, and I hope you all enjoyed it, guys. So yeah. And please do stay tuned to my YouTube channel, because I've got some more awesome games to come. I have some games in the pipeline, so subscribe to my YouTube channel already if you haven't done so. And consider also supporting me on Patreon, because that will also support the patch, the game, and future development. So if you want to chip in, then I would really do appreciate that, guys. Keeps me motivated, keeps this going. Anyways, a big thank you to all for watching this video. A big thank you to my existing patrons as well. And I will see you all in the next video. So this is me, Masterleaf. Peace out.